Number one, Georgia hangs on for dear life over Auburn on the Plains 27-20. Guys, my big question here, how many times is Georgia going to step on the landmine before it goes off? I've tweeted in 3 weeks that landmine gif about the Georgia Bulldogs, all three of them in the first half. They come out, they're asleep at the wheel. They give up an early touchdown. They fall behind. Today, they fell behind 10-0 to a hapless Auburn team offensively. No offense, our friends over at the Uptempo pod. That's a defensive team right now, not
They
an
would
offensive
agree.
one.
They would agree.
Yeah, one of the worst quarterbacked teams in the country, and they're up 10-0 on the team that the AP poll continues to tell you is the best team in the land. Listen, I know the AP poll doesn't watch these games. They've proven that week in and week out. Regardless of if you think they're the top team in the land or not, eventually one of these games is not going to go their way. And today it was nearly against War Eagle. What's it going to take for Georgia to finally lose one of these games? Is it going to be in the regular season? Is it a Kentucky? Is it Florida? Or do we have to get to the SEC championship game before the Dogs finally get exposed?
Well, here's the problem, because I think exposed is a strong word. Let's back up. Let's remember this is a road rivalry game. I know that this hasn't been a competitive rivalry for the last however many years. I highlighted that on the preview show, but this is a road rivalry game. It looked like Auburn finally had a solid game plan to not rely on the arms of their quarterbacks, but rather the legs of their quarterbacks. And that was something that they did well. And I think it is very concerning that you let Auburn, a team that cannot pass, run for 219 yards on you. Not excusing that, not, pushing that to the side. But this is still the most talented team in the country. The talent on the field does matter, and the defense is still extremely elite. So I'm going to read off the rest of their schedule to you guys. And if you say that somebody's going to get them, you tell me where, because Kentucky is, I know they look great against Florida today, but that's an extremely flawed team that turned it on against Florida today. At Vanderbilt, no. Florida and Jacksonville, maybe if they get up for a big rivalry game, but that's an extremely flawed team that can't throw the football. Missouri, maybe. They've looked plucky. They're still undefeated, and the offense is really fun. I guess that's where you would say, but that's at home. Okay. Yep. Ole Miss at home. We just talked about how their defense gave up a ton of yards, and they're not consistent. So we'll wait and see on that one. At Tennessee, at Georgia Tech to end the year, I can't pick them in a vacuum to lose any one of those games. That doesn't mean they won't lose one of them, and they might. But if you're asking me to pick in a vacuum, just straight up those games, I'm going to pick Georgia in every single one of those.
Yeah, I think in a vacuum that makes sense. For me, I'm looking at that and saying, okay, but this is a team that can only run the football. We just saw that out of Kentucky, that they put their nose to the grindstone and just ran the football all up and down on Florida. If Auburn can do this, what's Kentucky going to do to them? Because I think that's something they got to really worry about, get those, trenches shored up. And then, yeah, I am looking at teams like an Ole Miss or like a Tennessee and saying, like, they can score. They can score points. Like, if you can score points on Georgia this year, it doesn't seem like their defense is quite what it used to be. Maybe they're just finding their rhythm. Maybe they're just figuring it out. But it doesn't look like the defense has been nearly as dominant.
They still haven't given up a ton of points. They've given up 7-3, 14, 21, 20 today.
Sure, but it's not like they're as dominant up front as they have been. And that's fine. They were at elite levels. But I'm just saying they're not as elite as they have been in the past. And I think that, while they're still considered a favorite, I still think they're the favorite to win the SEC. I still think they should be a favorite to make the playoff. I don't think that they're at that level. And I think that this is going to make them susceptible to say, like, yeah, like if you are going to, get your butt whooped in the trenches, then like look out because you've got Kentucky on the schedule. Look out because Quinshon Judkins is on your schedule. Like there's a lot that you have to look out for. And I think that you just have to acknowledge it in order to say, like, if you want to be that way as Georgia, and if you want to be that team that's going to go for your three-peat, you have to fix it in the trenches. You have to fix some of those issues that you're facing right now, right? You have to be at that level because when you hit the playoff and you go up against a Michigan, right? Or you go up against a Washington or an Ohio State or somebody like that, those teams can all run the football effectively. And those teams can all use that to set up play action and to set up the downfield stuff, and they'll beat you over the top. And so far, your offense hasn't proven that it's explosive enough to keep up with anything like that. So I'm concerned about it at the bigger scale. Maybe not right here, but at the bigger scale, I'm a lot more concerned, and I think they have to look out for some stuff like that.
As I was looking over Georgia's schedule on ESPN, just ESPN Gaff of the day, they still have as the lead article on the Georgia Bulldogs page, Dion and Shador delivering late night magic in Boulder from week 3. A 2-week-old article that ESPN is still pushing down your throats. An average Colorado team that should have gotten blown out against USC today. We'll talk about that in a second.
At least it's not Taylor Swift, so we got that going.
So right about that.
That is fair.
I'll take all the Dion coverage over Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
That's a good point. One final note. Auburn's defense looked really good, very physical, forced 2 turnovers. Shout out to them.
Auburn has a great defense.
They do.
That is they are a half team. They are borderline Iowa levels at times, but
yeah,
they have a fantastic defense that's going to cause some problems in the SEC West this year for a couple teams. We've already seen that. They held A&M in check for a good chunk of that game last week. Yeah. They held Georgia in check for a good chunk of this game. That defense is going to come to play every week.
Brock Bowers, that dude, 8 catches, 157 yards, the game-winning touchdown. He had back-to-back catches with one hand that should not have been humanly possible. Brock Bowers is going to be
he's from a different planet. He's not from here.
I think he should be a top 5 pick. I mean, we drafted Kyle Pitts in the top 5. That's going great for Atlanta because they won't throw to him. But Brock Bowers should absolutely be one of those high draft picks, no doubt about it.
Where would you guys put him in the Heisman pecking order right now? Is he even on the radar right now? And would a tight end ever win?
No, there's too many quarterbacks like Caleb Williams lighting it up.
Or like Bo Nix or Kate Young.
But let's say Georgia goes undefeated and they, start to figure it out on offense, and it's obviously not Carson Beck, it is Brock Bowers. Does he get a New York invite?
I don't know, man. It's so tough. Like Heisman voters are known for their horrific decision making. So I kind of fail to give them the benefit.
And it's not that he's not talented, but he'd have to finish with like stupid statistical numbers. You know what I mean? Like he'd finish with
I think he might, because no one else is going to catch the ball.
1,800 yards and 20 plus touchdowns. Like he'd have to finish with something stupid to get there.
I love the YouTube chat. He's not sexy enough. Hey, he was talking about someone who's really excited about the Taylor Swift news. Brock Bowers said that was a win for tight ends everywhere. What else he got with him?
Gracious him! How about that?